couple jobs. I'll go in order from my least favorite to my favorite. I work at a sporting goods store, and I don't like that one very much. I'm a substitute teacher. I do enjoy doing that, and I'm also a fireman, and that's a super fun job. Ever since I was little, the only two things I ever wanted to do was be a fireman, or I wanted to do something, and I liked making people laugh. So.
I substituted at the school that she works at. I'm not going to get any more jobs, so that's fine.
I signed up before one time at the Funny Bone, chickened out, didn't go, and then I don't know, it might have been like a year later. I signed up. I'm like, okay, this time I'm gonna go, and I'm actually gonna do it, and I did it, and it was a lot of fun.
I like that you can just smoke in here, regardless of how just anyone thinks about it. It's just like, it kind of reminds me of like a Waffle House, When you go inside, they're like, would you like smoking or to get the out?
I guess I was driven a little bit. I bought a comedy book, which is kind of like silly now, but and the one, I never finished the book, but the one thing it did get to, it's like, until you go on stage and you put down a date, which I surpassed by a lot, until you do that, you can't finish reading the book. So that was the thing, and I was like, with anything in life, I would always be like, I'll just do that later. And I feel like if I kept saying I'll do it later, then I would always regret it. But I'm like, if I try it, maybe it'll go well, maybe it won't, but I have to try it.
Anyone here ever had a three-way associate's degree? Have you ever had a three-way? I'm only saying no with your girlfriends here. Okay, so this guy's had a three-way.
I think once you do it a couple more times, and then you start doing bad, then I was like, this is something I need. I need to make this happen and do well again. So that's what I did. I started going bad, and then I was like, I need to change something up, and then to ramp myself up, and that's when I caught the bug.
If someone just becomes is on TV, they're like, yeah, that guy's like a sellout because he's doing well.
Yeah, then those people are just wrong.
Yeah, I think so too. Someone was, I don't know.
Selling out is the key?
Yeah, right. You want to do
and what I mean by that is you do this to do it for a living,
right?
And to do it for as wide an audience as possible.
Right.
How is that selling out? Now, if you change your act in order to, or if you say things on stage that you don't believe in,
right,
in order to get some of those things, yeah, then that's probably selling out.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
And if they are, they don't do it for long. They either wise up because they realize that even though they got those things, they're unhappy, or audiences either consciously or subconsciously stray away from them because they realize they're not seeing a genuine act.
Right.
I wouldn't say my jokes are always story-based, but it'll be something I like to use as much real stuff that happened. I don't like to make up something. Something will happen, and if I find it interesting or it makes me laugh, especially if it doesn't make anyone else laugh, but I'm like, I need to try to make a way to make this funny on stage.
So I was helping my dad in the garage the other day, and by helping my dad, I mean pissing him off. Because I don't know, I never do anything right. It's like, hold the light, hold it right here, where I'm looking. I don't know where you're looking. He's like everyone else. He's known me for years, but apparently, I guess I look like a guy who knows a lot about cars. I don't.
I think once you start doing stand-up, you almost get a different brain.
I'm recently single, and being single. I'm not dating right now. So being single, realizing a few things back in the dating world. With the girl the other day, and we were sitting on the couch, and we started apart, and then we moved together, and eventually we're holding hands. And I was just wondering, why, when anyone holds hands, does each person do this? And start molesting each other's hand like that feels good? Am I the only person with no nervings in their hand? It doesn't feel good for me? Are there couples out there just get the cuticle, baby, get the cuticle? Yeah. I don't like it, because I think the thumb is a wrestler, not a massager. That's just practice with the ladies. Because they say practice makes perfect, but that's wrong. Because if practice makes perfect, I wouldn't miss the toilet so much when I pee. I've been doing it since I was 11. I think it'd be pretty good by now. But I'm not.
the material you write doesn't always go over from crowd to crowd. And that kind of messes with your head because you're like, well, it worked the first time. How come it doesn't work this time? When you think something's funny, and I would equate it to, if you don't do stand-up, I would equate it to something that you witness. If you're driving in your car or something, you have a story and you call your best friend and you call them and you tell them the story and you're waiting for that like relief of them. And your best friend who knows you, knows your point of views, when they don't laugh, that's what it's like when you have a good joke and you take it on stage and nothing. And you're like, why don't you guys see it this way? And that, I think that's one of the hardest things is you're like, you think something's undeniably funny and you're like, this is gonna just destroy, and then it gets nothing, and then you're like, what? I do want to be honest with you guys. I do like doing stand-up. Not tonight, but most nights. The worst time bombing, it was a biker bar, and I go up and I made fun of the fact that there was no motorcycles there. They didn't like that, and Kobe kept talking, so I engaged them because they were heckling, and they didn't like that I made fun of that person because apparently she was the cook of the bar, and they hated me. And the one guy like shot, he's like, hey, your hoodie's gay. And I was like, all right. And he goes, your hoodie looks gay. And I was like, okay. He's like, you're gay. I was like, are you saying I'm gay or your hoodie? He's like, the hoodie makes you gay. It was like something that I was like, so you said I get dressed this morning. And I'm just like a straight guy, but I put on this hoodie and it's like, I'm gay. And so I'm like just digging myself out of this gay hole just the whole time. He's this guy. I'm like, I just never won him back over. And I would like do a joke, and I'm like, I don't know what to do for these guys. Did you say I don't? Or did you say you do? Do you like country or do you not like country? What? Don't talk and then not talk. I don't really know how to handle hecklers. I try to make it fun, I guess, a little bit, but you basically have to be like, you have to say, you're being rude, but let's not make everyone think I'm an asshole.
When you know you're funny, but the audience doesn't think you're funny, sometimes it's just like, man, don't you know that this is what this comedy is all I think about, and you people are sitting there, you've never done this, you're not funny, and you're telling me that I'm not? How f***ing dare you? But
100%. Right now, I'm at the position. If you look at it from like what a basic show is, with most shows at the club that you'll go see is probably it's an MC, what's called like a feature or middle, and then your headliner. And right now, I'm in between. What at least I would think I'm a pretty solid host. I do pretty well, and I'm trying to get that arc over to become a middle. So I'm kind of right now I'm like in that middle section, and I'm fine with that. A lot of people, they want to get to that next step faster, and I would love to be that next step. I'm not saying I'm super humble. I would love if tomorrow I was a middle act and I could travel with my own headliner, but as of right now, I'm lucky enough to be getting constant like either hosting work or people want me on their shows for some reason.
What's this f***ing problem? I'm sorry, Mom.
You get upstairs right now, mister.
So that's, and a lot of it did pick up after I won the 2013 Funny Bone competition. Before it was just Bobby's funny, you can put him on the show, but now they're like, well, he won something, so he's super funny. Which doesn't mean I'm the funniest guy in St. Louis. That comedy is just so subjective, and there's people who I'll put on showcases that I do, and their comedy doesn't translate to the crowd that we have, which makes me upset because I'm like, this person is funny. It's just not you wanted like a puppet or something, and this person doesn't do it. It's a little bit smarter humor, and I wish you guys liked this person, but it's just not gonna mix. We started this over a year ago. We've been doing like, this will probably be, I think this is the 11th show, and it basically started out for like, there's a couple reasons. Like I didn't feel like I was getting enough time in St. Louis, and I also felt like some of my friends felt the same way, so I was like, I definitely want to take this in my own hands. I was like, I want to start my own comedy show. I host every show. I go first. I always just wanted it to be a room where people could come and try more than 4 minutes, because a lot of places you go, you only get 4 minutes, which is good starting out because that's all you really need. But I wanted my friends to get more time. So a lot of people on the show now are getting between 15, 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on how well they're doing in the comedy scene. Some of the shows sell out, they fill the rooms. We may have some slow shows, where it's like a snowstorm or something like that. It's unfortunate because you're at the lowest attendance we've ever had. Pretty sweet. It's all good. We're gonna have a good show. And I
want to put everyone on it, but the people I put on the most are the people who I know are working hard. I don't care if you have the best solid 10 minutes in St. Louis, if I don't see you and I don't see that you're working and that you really love comedy and you want it to be something bigger than you are, then I try not to put those people on the show.
My name's Max Fitzgerald. I've been doing comedy for my first open mic was just over 4 years ago, but since regularly a few years, yeah. It's one of the loneliest things you can do, I think. You're just on stage by yourself, trying to get people to laugh who are expecting you to laugh. It was just awful for months, and then couldn't get on, but then I don't know, it went well that first time, so I was like, okay, I can do something that's original that I created, and that's the good feeling. Like I thought of this in my brain, the words came out, and then I put it on a piece of paper, and then I tell it to people, and then they laugh, and that makes me feel happier.
I still give the audience what I think they want for like comic wise, and people who I bring back people who I know they like, but then I'll also bring back people that I'm like, maybe you won't like this person, but I know they're funny, so I'm gonna put my faith in them and put them on my show because I like them, and I kind of don't care what you guys think. It's my show, you know?
I think a lot of, especially at this point, I'm 23, and a lot of people, they kind of grew up, like even there's a lot of friends who I still hang out with who are also weird like me, like to do fun, weird stuff, but a lot of people are like, well, they've moved out of their parents' house and I have not, and they are doing more things, and I kind of have to sit back and be like, do I want to be that adult right now, or do I want to be the guy who grows up and I'm like, hey, I'm an adult now, but then I look back and I never had fun, or do I want to be the guy that's like has fun and maybe I have some regrets, but at least I gave it a shot. This is something that you created from nothing. No one told you make this something. You just took something you liked and made it where they love it, and then where people are saying it later. Like, someone's like, hey, I told that guy at work, and for me, you're like, that's insane. That's insane that you think of me and what my dream and goal is, and you tell people about it. That's the best part for me.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. My name's Bobby J. Guys, please be